Person A spent the month traveling. New cities, new food, new faces. Person B stayed home. Same desk, same route, same routine. Now ask yourself, which one do you think feels like the month went by faster? Person B, every time. And person A comes back feeling like they've lived a year. Here's the thing, nothing about time actually changed. Both had the same 30 days. So why did their brains experience it completely differently? The answer has nothing to do with how much you did. It has everything to do with what your brain decided to record. And right now, your brain might be recording far less than you think. The real question is, why? And the answer goes back to something your brain has been doing since you were born. Every year, people say the same thing. I can't believe it's already over. Where did the time go? It feels like it just started. And every year, they assume the same reason. Too busy, too much going on, not enough time to slow down. That explanation sounds right. It feels right, but it's wrong. Because even on days when you do almost nothing, time still disappears. Even when you're resting, hours still vanish. So it's not about being busy. Something deeper is happening. Scientists have a name for it, and when you hear it, you'll never look at a Monday morning the same way again. Not because it's new information, because you've been living it your entire life without knowing it had a name. But first, you need to understand what your brain has quietly been doing to you. Try something right now. Think about last week. Not just what you did, but how it felt. Try to remember specific moments, what you saw, what you heard, what you actually thought about. It's not easy, is it? It feels compressed, like it barely existed. But here's what's strange. Count to 10 right now, slowly. That feels normal. Each second feels like a second. So time itself didn't change. Seconds didn't get shorter, but your experience of an entire week vanished. That's not a coincidence. That's your brain doing something very specific. And once you understand what it is, you can't unsee it. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain does not measure time like a clock. It doesn't. When you were a child, almost everything was new. Every day felt different. Every place felt unfamiliar. Every experience felt significant. Your brain had no shortcuts, no patterns to rely on, so it paid attention to everything. And here's the key. More new information creates more memory. More memory makes time feel longer. That's why childhood feels so long when you look back. It wasn't actually longer, it was just richer, denser, filled with novelty. But as you grow older, something changes. Your life becomes more predictable, more structured, more repetitive. Your brain starts recognizing patterns. And once it recognizes patterns, it starts optimizing. It becomes efficient. Instead of processing everything in detail, it starts filtering, compressing, ignoring what it has already seen. From a biological perspective, that's the correct behavior. There's no reason to waste energy analyzing the same thing repeatedly. So your brain simplifies. It stops recording everything. It stores less. And this changes everything. Less new information means fewer memories. Fewer memories make time feel shorter. So it's not that time is moving faster, it's that your brain is recording less of it. Here's where it gets really strange. There's another layer to this, and this one is even more subtle. As you age, each year becomes a smaller fraction of your entire life. When you were 10 years old, 1 year was 10% of your life. That's massive. It feels significant. But at 20, it becomes 5%. At 30, around 3%. At 40, even less. So subjectively, each year feels shorter. Not because it is shorter, but because it represents less of your total experience. Research in psychology calls this proportional time perception. And modern life makes this effect even stronger. Look at how you spend your time now. Scrolling, watching, switching, repeating. Your brain is constantly stimulated, but not in a meaningful way. You consume more than ever, but your brain stores less than ever. It's like eating constantly without real nutrition. You feel full, but nothing builds, nothing lasts. Think about your first love. You probably remember details you have no business remembering. What they were wearing the first time you met, what song was playing, exactly what they said. But last Tuesday? Gone. You can barely remember what you had for lunch. And here's the paradox. Your first love wasn't objectively more important than last Tuesday, but your brain treated it completely differently because everything was new. Every moment felt uncertain. Every detail felt significant. Your brain had no patterns to rely on, so it recorded everything, obsessively. That's why it still feels vivid decades later. That's why that period of your life feels so long when you look back. But routine? Routine your brain already knows. Routine it stopped recording years ago. So the real question isn't how to feel that intensity again. It's how to make your brain treat ordinary moments the way it once treated everything. So what do you actually do with this? Your brain is going to compress time whether you like it or not. That's not going to change. But you can change what it records. First, break your patterns deliberately. Take a different route to work. Eat somewhere new. Your brain can't compress what it hasn't seen before. Give it something new, and it has to pay attention. Second, create real experiences, not just stimulation. Scrolling for an hour leaves no memory, but one real conversation does. One new skill does. One place you've never been does. Ask yourself, will I remember this tomorrow? If the answer is no, your brain isn't recording it. Third, pay attention on purpose. Not just looking, but actually seeing. Notice what you usually walk past. Pay attention to what you usually tune out, because attention is what creates memory, and memory is what creates your sense of time. Fourth, stop trying to fill every moment. Boredom forces your brain to be present. Silence creates space for memory to form. The moments you resist filling are often the ones you remember most. Your life is not measured in hours, days, or years. It's measured by what your brain actually remembers. Here's what nobody warns you about getting older. It's not the wrinkles, it's not the aches, it's the disappearing. Not you disappearing, your moments disappearing. One unrecorded Tuesday at a time, one forgotten morning at a time, until years pass and you can't account for them. But here's what's true. Time isn't the problem. Attention is. The people who feel like they have more time aren't living longer. They're noticing more. They're treating ordinary moments the way they once treated everything. Your life isn't measured in years. It's measured in what you actually noticed. And the good news? Your brain hasn't changed. It's still wired to record everything when something feels new. So try something new. A new sport, a new route home, a new conversation with someone you've never spoken to. Anything that makes your brain say, I haven't seen this before. That's when it starts recording again. That's science applied.